Hi, this is Matt from tracyandmatt.co.uk, and here I am with the Samsung Galaxy W or Wonder. We're going to have a quick unboxing video for you here before we go away and do our full review. So obviously this handset, the Galaxy W, is building upon the popular Galaxy name from Samsung. Handset on top, which I'll come back to in a mo. Underneath, take a look at the accessories. So first of all, we have the quick start guide, which is quite small, quite thin. And let's pull all the other accessories out so we can get the box out of the way. There we go. Right, so we have the battery, which obviously we're going to need right now. And that is a capacity not listed, there we go, 1500 milliamp hour battery. We then have the USB charger, so it's a micro USB connector on one end, and the actual charger, which is UK 3 pin. Again, I know some people don't agree with my thoughts on this, but I prefer to have a charger that has a captive cable and then a separate USB to micro USB sync charge cable, because you can keep that plugged in the wall, that plugged in your PC, and you don't have to keep swapping them over if you want to, you know, change the way you're charging or syncing. But anyway, you've got a standard USB to micro USB sync charge cable as well. And then finally, we have a wired headset. It's got a 4-pole 3.5mm jack on an angled socket there. We have then an inline microphone with push button. As you can see there, pretty basic plastic there with 2 holes on the back for the microphone. And then the actual headphones themselves, really lightweight plastic. Seen these headsets from Samsung before. These are the sort of cheaper version of the headsets that you get supplied with their mobile phones. So this one is, well, I'd be very surprised if you're going to use this. I suspect that almost everybody is going to go out and either get themselves a proper quality wired headset or indeed use their own standard headphones. So coming back to the handset itself, move all these bits out of the way. Just peel off the advertising and screen protector there. So on the front we have a forward-facing camera for video conferencing and that kind of stuff. Use it with Skype and whatever you might. Loudspeaker or speaker on the front, and then either side we have ambient light and proximity sensors there, which are a little bit hard to make out. Then we have a 3.7-inch display, which is a 480 by 800 pixel TFT capacitive touchscreen, multi-touch supported there. Below, which you can't see just at the moment, we have 2 capacitive touch buttons on either side of the button in the middle. The button in the middle looks to be, actually has a little protective sticker on it, which makes it a little bit more difficult to see. I will mess around with that later. There's a sticker over there that there we go, let's get rid of that. It's obscuring that slightly. There we go. So we have home, oh no, that one, it looks like menu, and back, it's hard to see without the battery in, which we'll put the battery in, and then a physical button in the center as well. On the left hand side we have up and down volume control. On the bottom, little cutout for removing the back cover, which we'll do in a moment, and then a little hole there, which is the microphone. On the right hand side, just the power button, nothing else. And then on the top we have a cover over the micro USB sync charge connector. I actually do quite like that feature, the sliding cover on these handsets. It just means that dust and rubbish doesn't get in that connector when you've got it in your pocket, especially a jeans pocket, which tends to, you know, end up with a load of fluff inside these connectors. And then there is the 4-pole 3.5mm socket, so that we can use our wired headset that's supplied, or our own standard headphones, 3.5mm socket on the back. Then we have our camera on the back, which actually, I'm just looking down the specification, is 5 megapixel autofocus, and then there is a LED flash on the side as well. It's pretty small and placed right at the top, as you can see. There's a loudspeaker at the bottom there, and then the back is quite textured, obviously a plastic cover on the back. We've got a few stickers over the back covers as well, so just peel those off so you can see that a bit more clearly. There we go. So textured back as well. That cover does pop off like so. You can see it's fairly flimsy, but once it's in place it's fairly secure. We have a space for the SIM card, and then a space for a micro SD memory card as well. You notice the one I have here hasn't been supplied with a micro SD card. I'm not sure what different carriers might supply that with. I suspect that if you buy it from a carrier, you'll probably get at least a 2 gig, maybe even an 8 gig memory card. But my one is a SIM-free model here, so it's not actually been supplied with those. So let's pop the battery in, put that cover on, and snap it all in place. Once it's in place, as I say, it's fairly secure. Let's just power up, and while that comes on, run down the rest of the spec. So we have quad band for GSM and dual band for HSDPA. It's going to work most places when you're on holiday, and if you take it abroad, roaming or on business and that kind of stuff, it should work most places. Size 115.5 millimeters from top to bottom. We're just under 60 millimeters wide at 59.8 millimeters wide. Actually, it's 3 branded. That's a surprise to me. I thought we had a SIM-free one here, but anyway, three branded one here. In terms of thickness, 11.5 millimeters thick. Weight, it does feel a bit weighty, but surprisingly, looking at the specification, it's only 114.7 grams. And in the hand, it feels a little bit more than that. 480 by 800 pixel display, as I say, 3.7 inch capacitive touchscreen. In terms of the rest of the specification, I mentioned the 5 megapixel autofocus camera. We're running Android OS 2.3.5 Gingerbread, a 1.4 gigahertz Scorpion processor. That's a pretty fast processor, single core, but pretty quick nevertheless. We'll run a benchmark on that in a moment. We also have Adreno 205 GPU as well. That's a graphics processing unit as well. Built-in FM radio and GPS, pretty much come to be the standard and expected now really. Video recording 720p through that 5 megapixel camera as well. That's a really decent feature. Wi-Fi supports 802.11b, G and wireless N standards with Wi-Fi hotspot mode. And finally we have Bluetooth 3.0 with A2DP support. So let's take a look at the user interface. We will connect to Wi-Fi straight off the bat because I'm being offered it. So let's go ahead and do that. As you can see there, we have a nice QWERTY keyboard, which, if you recognise the thing in the corner, has a swipe. So that's actually the swipe keyboard. For the moment, I'm just going to use it as a standard QWERTY, and we are connected. I will sign into my Google account because, again, I've been offered the opportunity. There we go. And let's see if we can get to the yep, that's signed in. We'll accept backup and restore. The capacitive touchscreen feels extremely sensitive, which is excellent. And it's hard to say, but the display is I think it's plastic rather than glass. It feels pretty solid. And we'll just accept all of these defaults just for now. And there we go. So we've started up in a fairly familiar looking home screen. So if you've seen Samsung handsets before, you'll recognise the user interface that they use. So first of all, on the home screen here, we have the internet, email, Gmail, maps, market. There's a 3 icon there. As I say, we are looking at a 3 branded handset. Then at the bottom we have phone, contacts, messaging and applications. They stay at the bottom regardless of the page that you're on. A little bit easier to see the buttons that we have at the bottom lit up now. So pushing the menu button at the side, we can add widgets, change the wallpaper, search, notifications, edit, or indeed go into the settings menu. We've already set up the wireless and network, but also in here we can change other things around. Look at the about, for example, check out the Android version, 2.3.5, all that kind of stuff. That's fairly straightforward. Pushing the button in the middle does take us home all the time. Looks like it should actually be, let's go back out, it looks like it actually should be optical because it has sort of this, I don't know if you make that out, sort of a bit of a texture to it, but it's not, it's just a single push button. In terms of what we've got on the other panels, we've got the power controls here, so Wi-Fi on and off, Bluetooth on and off, GPS, backlight brightness, which I'm going to set to maximum, and we can get into settings from there as well. Samsung apps. We have YouTube, Camera Gallery, Social Hub and Google Talk. We have a nice little weather widget, then a blank page, and another one, and another one, and another one. So 7 panels or pages in all. Actually, if we want to go to a blank area and long touch, we can add additional widgets, and at the bottom we are presented with little icons for the widgets, and they do actually have this kind of 3D scrolling effect where they sort of angle as you swipe them across, so that's kind of cool. But you can add in various widgets there. So I'm just going to pick one, program monitor. As you can see there, it's added at the top, but then I can actually move it around and do whatever I want with it. And if I just want to bin it, I could just do that as well. Fairly straightforward, slightly different implementation of the way widgets work with an Android phone. I'm going to go into the applications menu. I've got those listed on 3 pages. Looks like pretty straightforward stuff. Social Hub is the only thing really unusual there. Kai's is there as well, Samsung things as well. And we have Millionaire, T-Blocks, My City, The Sims, and indeed the 3 shortcut as well. There's a task manager also, which is pretty useful. So let's take a look at the browser. Rather than going to the 3 site, we're going to go to our site. So let's see how well Swipe. If you haven't seen Swipe before, it's very cool. I suggest you check it out, and if you can get it on your phone, it's definitely worth having. So if we want to go to Tracy, what I'm doing is swiping my fingers over the letters that form the word without taking my finger off. Although I screwed that one up. Or I can stab at the keys in the regular way. Let's just do that anyway. Progress bar moving pretty rapidly along the top, and as you can see, the page is loaded. The display in here looks pretty good actually. It's listed as being a standard TFT capacitive. The brightness, and obviously turn the brightness up to full, but the colours have been pushed quite high, so they work quite well. And we've got 2-finger zooming. We have the accelerometer control, and I think thanks to that 1.4 gigahertz processor, everything works really smoothly. Zooming's dead smooth. Zooming's dead smooth, I should say. Scrolling's dead smooth as well, and works really nicely. Double tap to zoom in, double tap to zoom out, and even with that zoom level, you can read the text if you squint a bit. That's really cool. Going back home, we will take a look at YouTube, do a quick search, do a quick search for my YouTube channel, which is Leo D, and let's pick, for example, the Samsung Galaxy Ace. That buffered really quickly. I'm using Wi-Fi and broadband, so it should be pretty quick, but that. Hi everyone, this is Matt from tracymatt.co. There we go. Here looking at loaded and buffered pretty quickly before it started playing. That's cool. Very good. Let's go and take a look at Google Maps to see if indeed we've got a GPS fix. Looks like we have. Location to within 60 meters. That's cool. That's good. I could turn on GPS and wireless network settings in the settings screen, but I won't bother to do that right now. We did pick up a fix pretty quickly. Camera. We might as well take a quick look at the camera. And using the box, there we have the camera interface. Take a quick snap. Reasonably fast. We've got settings, so we can switch to the front camera or the rear camera. Got the controls for the flash. We can turn it on forcibly, so that when next time I take a picture, it'll definitely use the flash regardless. There we go. We've got the settings menu at the side, so we can change different modes. And on this side we can switch to video recording mode. And again in the settings here, we can change resolution, white balance, all that kind of stuff. Turn the flash on, so we can forcibly use the flash to actually illuminate as well. Start and stop recording at the side. Camera works reasonably well. I mean, I've always taken those quick couple of snaps there. They didn't look too terrible in the previews. Going to Android Market, and what we'll just take a quick look at. We've got obviously a standard implementation of Android Market, so you've got your apps there, in different categories, games in different genre categories, my apps listed here, which is notification of just a couple of updates. So there's a Gmail and Flash Player 11 update. There's a few other things there that require an update at the bottom, which are manual updates. I'm going to do a quick search. I'm going to go to take a look at Quadrant, do a quick benchmark using Quadrant Standard, which is free, and let's take a look at what our results are. Notice at the top we have a notifications section, which is telling us that there's some updates. Gmail is updated, Flash Player is updated, Quadrant has installed. Then you've got the power controls at the top as well, so you can turn off the Wi-Fi and all that sort of thing just at the top also. Looks like those other things have also installed, and if we clear the notifications, they go from the top there. So now that they have installed, let's go into the application menu and let's take a look. Run Quadrant as a full benchmark and see how that 1.4 gigahertz processor works. It seems to be ramping through those CPU tasks pretty quickly, memory tasks pretty quickly as well. I/O isn't going to take very long by the looks of it. So we seem to be ploughing through those at a fair rate. 23 frames a second on the 2D video, 40 frames a second there, and that's really quite rapid, quite impressive already. Between 40, up to 50, nearly 60 frames a second there at peak times, and 40 plus frames a second there for that animation also. So I think we're going to be looking at a fairly good result. Indeed, not bad. In actual fact, that's strange. So the number seems to be less impressive than the actual running of the benchmark, but it says there 1080. So above the Samsung Galaxy S and slightly lower than the Droid X. That does seem a little strange, and in fact I'm going to quickly rerun that test and see if we get a different result. Because in actual fact the running and watching seem more impressive than the number we ended up at the end. Which is one of the things about Quadrant, that you need to run it, well, when we do a review we'll normally run it around 10 times to get an average. It's 23 frames a second. Around 40 to 50 frames a second there. So it all seems to be fairly smooth and fast. And finally, what we got, nearly 60 frames a second there at times. Pretty rapid. And around 40 frames a second there as well. It all seems pretty smooth. And there we go, our results have jumped from 1080 to 1158. So hence the reason for running this benchmark a number of times when we do a review. But in general terms, the handset seems pretty fast. So no criticism there. In actual fact, roll around the different menus. It's pretty cool. So there we go, that's a pretty quick look at the Samsung Galaxy W. We'll have a full review for you over the next couple of weeks. In the meantime, if you want to follow me on Twitter, twitter.com/TracyandMatt or facebook.com/tracyandmatt.co.uk. Please do feel free to ask me any questions about this or any other handsets that we are reviewing or those that we aren't reviewing. We'll do our best to get any information that you require or answer any questions that you may have. I'll be back soon with some more videos and reviews on tracyandmatt.co.uk, but for now, thanks for watching.